Craig Lane with Health Alchemy here. We're going to be talking about the ways to live in alignment with nature. And today we're going to talk about some other decision makings and how do you know you made the right decision, in any given moment. Again, if you haven't made notice of there's a flow in life, like when you're doing sports or you're in the zone with tennis or surfing or basketball or volleyball or whatever, you notice that you're not thinking, right? You're just in the flow. And life can be like that. So first of all, how do you get in the flow? Well, there's other videos for that. But today, the statement that comes out of Taoism, you could spell it Daoism or Taoism, but that's like the old, the old honorable tradition of old Chinese people that lived in the mountains and lived according to the ways of nature. And I'm sure that if somebody wants to comment that's from China and has studied history more than I have, and then they could give me a better definition of Taoism. But the statement that I explored with my teacher, Adyashanti, many years ago is a statement: enlightened action leaves no trace. Enlightened action leaves no trace. Now, the first thing I went to with this is I stewed on this for almost 5-10 years. And I asked people about, is it karma? The trace is if you do something bad to somebody, then you leave a trace, and then you have to incur the cause and effect karma of feeling whatever bad thing you did, being on the other side of it. Like, okay, I robbed somebody of $100. Well, guess what? In my life, if I never robbed anybody, but whatever bad things I did, there was always a cause and effect reality of, maybe within 24 hours later, I'd get the trace. So that's not what my teacher was pointing towards, though. Enlightened action leaves no trace. So sit with that for a second. Take a breath. I got mosquitoes around me here. So the trace for me right now, the mosquito's trace is death, right? So the trace then is doubt and fear and regret. So if we make a decision and we doubt that decision, and it keeps recycling in our consciousness. So the first thing to notice is if you're an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 3 days, 3 months out of something you did, and it's still coming up without volition in your own consciousness, well, that's the trace. So any recycling thought pattern, any recycling emotional pattern, when I say recycling, it keeps coming up. And that's because you left a trace. It was an unskillful decision. And one definition, just so I don't get some of the old Christian literalists all stirred up here, one definition of the word sin is to miss the mark. I believe in the old Aramaic. So a lot of what we see in the modern vernaculars are very poor and manipulated translations in order to manipulate people away from gnosis or knowing directly. And that's what I promote, because that's what anybody that's had any kind of deep experience will see is the enlightenment we seek, the peace we seek, the spirit we seek, whatever we seek is always and already within us. And so the trace then, to leave no trace means you're free, you're fluid, you're in the moment. And if you do notice doubt or regret from something in the past coming up, and notice that doubt and regret are emotions based on the past, generally. And fear, we can fear something we did in the past, but generally anxiety is something we think about the future. I mean, they can work both ways, but then you notice I'm tethered to the past. Why? Because I keep making decisions that are leaving a trace. So the first thing you do is, you just notice okay, I've got this recycling pattern. Maybe the solution then would be to just sit with it, right? Just sit with the decision. Got it. And so we sit with the decision and we let it be. We don't try and change it. We don't try and change it. We don't try and fix it. We just feel what that trace may have been. Enlightened action leaves no trace. And you're free. You're free to be in the moment and work with the roller coaster of life. So this is one of my favorite things to talk about is when you see doubt and regret, that's the trace. If you see a recycling thought pattern, that's the trace. And then the solution is just sit with it and get more in the flow, get into a relationship with grace, get more clear, breathe, get yourself more present through your breath, and learn to feel your contact points. Like I'm feeling my contact points on my seat right now. I'm feeling my feet on the ground. I'm feeling my butt on the chair, and I'm feeling my surroundings around me, including the mosquitoes trying to bite me, So the trace then, the ultimate trace would be to die with regrets, right? And a lot of people prepare for that in the 12 step. That's called making amends. So if you need to make amends with someone, that's another trace, because you've left an unskillful decision out there, and now it's time to clean it up. Craig Lane with Health Alchemy. Thank you very much.